Welcome to the Thoughtful Age podcast. And today I have a wonderful guest who is my colleague and whose name is Dhara Patel. And she works as SVP of Engineering at Kinesso, as I do. And I enjoy talking to her always. She always has some interesting insights and some interesting views on any kind of problems we might have or issues or just an interesting to have a conversation about everything, including life. So, Dara, could you please introduce yourself briefly to our audience, and maybe you can as well start uh, and share a bit about your journey from software engineer to becoming who you are now, SVP of Engineering at Kinesso.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having me on the podcast. It's always pleasure to talk to you and all the like-minded people. So about my journey and how I ended up here is I basically started my journey in the field of computer science since my undergrad. So I did my undergrad and then my graduation in the field of computer science. And then I basically started my software engineering journey as an intern in Citrix and part of their go-to division where basically the focus was on all the collaboration products like GoToMeeting and GoToWebinar. So as I started working in IC and building software systems, I got exposure to the different aspects of software development, front end, back end systems, got exposure to the platforms as well as the data side of the world. And then I just continued being an IC for a few years and stepped into a tech lead kind of a role, which basically exposed me even further that building software systems is not just about coding, but there is also a lot of other aspects like how does it solve problems for customers, or how do we think about it as a product, and what's the business goals behind it. So that actually those aspects made me interested in pursuing a leadership career where I always think that engineering leadership is basically an intersection of people, process, product, technology, business, and it's a mix of all of that, which makes it super exciting. So that's how I decided to step into the leadership role and then just progress through my career. After Citrix, I joined Twilio. I was there for about 5.5 years, where I grew through the ranks, and again, same thing, right? Building platforms and solving customer needs. Um, and then continued my growth towards being a strategic leader. So I think transitioning from Twilio to Kinesso basically allowed me an opportunity to be in a strategic executive kind of a role to drive even bigger initiatives. So yeah, that's my journey to where I am today.
Fascinating, yeah, and I like how you put it. Like the building of software products is not just about coding, but
Yeah.
just about the people, about the processes, and maybe the people in the first place. Actually, uh, the people that are motivated and engaged, they are actually the superstars who are
Mhm.
able to achieve superior results and like build the products that will cover and satisfy all the customers' needs and will just be the like amazing team members as well. And
Absolutely.
you also mentioned that you've built and expanded teams at Twilio and in Citrix. And
Mhm.
could you please share something about your philosophy of team building and fostering a collaborative environment?
Yeah, I think team building. I I don't know if there is a philosophy or not, but it definitely starts with when you think about it, right? I think as an individual, you can only achieve so much or contribute so much, but when you put together a team, which is actually made up of diverse skills, whether it's like front end development or back end developers or data focused people, it's just that the team together can achieve so much and can have a much larger impact. So I think that's where the team building is very crucial and important. And there are different aspects to that, right? It's not just about putting together bunch of different skills into that, but there is also an aspect of what is your team composition and how do you align different levels of experience, because when there is a team, there are different scenarios and situations that team works on. Whether it's like, for example, if there is an incident management, you might want somebody who is more senior or experienced in the field, versus if there is innovation, you probably need someone junior or somebody who can just put things together. So that's where I think it's important to think about team composition as well as like building the right team. And the most important aspect is also to align the team to a shared vision, shared goals, and provide them a business alignment. And it's important for a team to be successful if they know what's the impact of their work, what's their shared understanding of what we do and why we do and how it aligns to the big picture for an organization or a company, or even for the problems that we are solving for our customers or our users. So I think that those are the different aspects of team building, and the collaboration is like to drive collaboration within a team. I think the first and foremost, it's important to create a safe environment or create a kind of like psychological safety where all opinions are heard. And I think it's important that the team is heard, their voices are heard, and that's the beauty of having a team where there can be a lot of great creative ideas across the team, and it's just about bringing all these great minds together to achieve something. So that's how
Yeah,
I look at it. Yeah.
amazing perspective. Yeah, I like it, and especially the aspect of psychological safety and the people uh, felt accepted and heard, and uh, that they can express whatever opinion they have and like propose whatever idea they have. Because, like, let's say today they might propose something like which is not suitable, which like doesn't have any chances to work. But tomorrow they might come up with something so amazing that you would be like, "Wow, what an excellent idea! Why didn't
Mhm.
anyone like think about that before?" And I especially like the moments when like you're sitting in the room with your team, and like you realize that you're probably not the smartest person in this
Yeah.
room, and there are
Thanks
people
so much.
around you, yeah, who might have much better ideas than yours, and
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
pretty amazing feeling.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, and how you approach the mentoring and development of your team, because definitely people are coming to the team in different stages of their life, careers, and we want
Mhm.
to pursue growth and we want everyone to be successful. How you facilitate that and how you help people?
Yeah, I think, yeah, no, I think especially like being a leader, like we must adapt like people first mindset. And I think that's where it is important part of our responsibility is to help people grow and develop. And I think when it comes to mentoring or coaching, I have always thought and learned that one size fits all approach does not work, because it is very subjective. It is very much personal for an individual team member on how they want to grow, which areas they want to grow. So I think when it comes to like mentoring, I think it's also, it starts with asking the right questions, because sometimes people might not even know which areas they want to develop or what, how should they think about that. So I think getting that information and getting that understanding of where can you as a leader help. And it could be just like maybe like for some people it's about learning new technical skills, so then providing them opportunities to learn and do some courses or build external visibility. And
You also give some examples of innovative products or projects you worked on, maybe something interesting from your past experience or the current.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I think innovation is definitely something. I think that oftentimes it comes from from the pain point that you have been seeing for a long time, right? So I think probably like one of the examples I can take is like, so back at my Twilio times, I and my team were heavily focused on the data side of the house. And in general, I think data ingestion, querying the data, analyzing the data has been relatively a solved problem. But I think the biggest problem is to actually understanding the context of the data, which means that okay, which data exists where, and if I have a certain question or a problem, which data should I use, where can I find it, and is the data accurate or not. It's just creating that whole concept of data dictionary was a huge pain point, right? Because also, like for data systems, lot of the knowledge about the data itself lives in everybody's heads, or mostly analysts who have worked on those systems and who are the domain experts. So I think one of the
Or the
things
data
that,
is or the data is just scattered like across all the
exactly,
databases, wiki
yeah,
pages, PDF documents, or yeah.
exactly, right? There are like product systems, and they have certain transactional data, and there is a data warehouse systems, and it's all over the places. So I think solving something like this, especially from using an engineering mindset, right? That okay, we need to solve this problem using software, and not like just sit there and manually create some kind of a dictionary. So I think that's where one of the initiatives which we took was, what at that time we called it a Hawkeye, but it was basically a system, a purely a self-service driven system where all the data producers can publish the semantics and the schemas of the data to our system, while the consumers can actually consume it. And then also there's one stop shop for everyone to go look at that, what data exists where, in what system, what's the status. I think that actually came out of just 1 week of a hackathon, and an idea just emerged from that, that why can't we just build this system. And I think, yeah, this, so that's where I feel that lot of times innovation comes from the recurring pain point that you keep seeing, either
Mm,
you see
some
or your users see. And then
some
you
pain.
take.
You're trying to
Yeah,
address some pain that people have.
yeah,
Yeah, that's amazing.
exactly.
Yeah,
And
it's a
then
great example. Like
yeah,
I only can imagine like if you work in a huge corporation or big enterprise, they always have those different silos that might be
yeah,
not like be aware of each other, let's say, but they might have
yeah,
like different useful information that could be shared between entities, and somebody else could
mhm,
leverage from it and take advantage of the data. And having that system in place is just something
yeah,
very good to have. Like I can imagine.
mhm,
And
yeah.
speaking of that, how can you ensure that the products you build or platforms you are developing are aligned with the business goals and customers' needs?
Yeah, yeah, that's actually very important, right? And I think that the most important thing about building any product, any solution, whether it's MVP or a long-term platform, it's very fundamental to ask that why are we building this? What problem exactly are we trying to solve? And if you can answer those questions, then at least you have a context of that, okay, you are trying to solve a real problem and not building a technology or a tech or software which is just, oh, it's cool to build it. So I think you definitely want to avoid that. And then also, like, it's just that even though you know that basically there is a pain point, there is a problem that we are solving, is it important that we need to solve it now? Because there is also an aspect of, oh,
Hmm.
sure, I mean, you can work on so many different things. Why is this important and urgent right now? And then I think also, like, once you identify, once you decide that you want to build a platform or a product, the next important thing is to align to a business goal, which should also, the important thing is to do the cascading of goals, right? That what is your company or organization level goal, what are your team goals, and how does that cascade into the product that you are trying to build. And also, don't just stop there, right? As you continue to build, keep asking those questions and ensure that you are on the right track of building it before it's too late. And don't be afraid of saying that, okay, at this point this is no longer relevant, then cut your losses. You don't need to go on and then feel bad about it, but it is very, very important that you continue to solve the problem and align with what your business needs are.
Yeah, yeah, I like the idea of checking up with the customers as often as you can, because
Yeah.
sometimes customers might not even know what they want
Yep.
themselves until you will
Exactly.
show them the opportunity, until you will show them the system, and they will realize, oh, this is probably what I need, but I need to introduce some small adjustment here and there, and then it would like
Hmm.
fit perfectly into my workflow or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's a great example as well. And there is an interesting topic as well, and that I propose to discuss. Did you ever had a situation with your project which didn't go as planned, and
Mhm.
what lessons you learned from that experience? I believe
Yeah.
failures are most interesting areas and most interesting cases that we usually learn a lot from.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I 100% agree that I think failures are the areas where you can learn the most, and actually it helps you grow. I would say that not any particular project, but I would say in general, I have handled enough of migrations from one systems to the other, one infrastructure to the other. And
Hmm.
oftentimes, migrations are the hardest and the most challenging. And the reason I have always found them challenging is that here it's not just a technological transformation, right? It's not just that you are taking something from one technology to the other, but oftentimes it involves the cultural shift, the mindset shift, and also that the most important question is that is your team ready, or is your team fully equipped to take on something new, or to, because oftentimes migrations are complex projects and they are multi months or multi year kind of initiatives which companies go through. And whether it's being a journey from on premise to cloud back in the days, or even now like going from like taking on an IAC kind of initiatives, I think it's just all of these things always involves a cultural shift, a mindset shift. And I think the biggest lesson that I learned is to do not underestimate the readiness of the team. And
Mm.
some things are obvious to know, right? That whether it's a technology, it does it fit our needs or not. But a lot of things are unspoken, right? That is what is the comfort level of the team, whether we have right skills, whether things like that. So I would say those are definitely the lessons that we need to keep in mind as we embark on complex projects, and also have flexibility to adapt when things go wrong, especially when it doesn't go as planned. And if and as I mentioned earlier, like that if you reach a point where you think this is no longer worth it, then you need to also understand and be flexible about how can I cut my losses and maybe adapt a different approach or try something else. But I think I would say those are probably the lessons to do not forget your team.
So, with your expertise in data warehousing and business intelligence,
Mhm.
where do you see the future of the data-driven solutions in tech?
Yeah, no, I think yeah, data driven solutions is basically the data is no longer a luxury. I think that it is a necessity, and it has certainly evolved from a point where, oh, we are just analyzing the data and making some decisions, but now we are in the edge of actually generating the relevant data for ourselves, right? Whether it's Gen AI, or we have plenty of applications and use cases around it. And I think that that is the future. I think there is just no doubt that AI is the future. And all of that is powered by data. So it's we are just past that point where we are just collecting the data and analyzing it, but rather just making it a lot more, taking the intelligence out of it and generating the more relevant contents for us. So that's how I see it. It's AI, I think, is just a beginning.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard about a couple of startups on that matter. What they do, they creating these LLM models that will allow to ingest all the data that the enterprise might have, all the documents, let's say, all the Confluence
Yeah.
pages, all the
Mhm.
databases as well, and some other documents, PDFs or CSV files or like whatever else the system will find in the whole enterprise
Yeah.
storages. And then the LLM will have access to all that data, and you as a user of that system will be able just to query the AI to give you an insight on something, and it will
Yeah.
automatically form the SQL query if the data is in the database, or will analyze the PDF file if the data is there, and will give you just a straight
Yeah.
answer about what you're looking for. This is so amazing, and I
Yeah.
just can't
And,
imagine how it could look
and
like. Yeah.
also, like, if you yeah, and if you think about it, right? I mean, so far the focus has been like in last decade, the focus has been a lot about just the business data. But now the data has no limit, right? It is basically everything, like even it like throughout the whole SDLC, or even if like your Gmails accounts and your meeting notes and everything is a digital data. And basically, yeah, just use that to make your life better, or basically like solve some of your processes and things like that. It's amazing that how it's evolving, and I'm just excited about what it can do and what it can bring, the next
By the way,
advancement.
do you
So
believe that AI will ultimately replace all the software engineers and developers?
it's a good one. I mean, I think a lot of leaders, and there is a lot of talk about that in the industry. I think that it will significantly help in the entire SDLC process, right? I think just building systems will be instant. It will, but I don't see that it completely replaces the need for software engineering. I think there still will be the need for the basics, like how do you I think the bare metal, the basics, right? The algorithms, and how do you solve certain problems, and how do you design architectures. I think things like that will still require a lot of computer science and software engineering knowledge. But I think building code, testing it, deploying it, running it, it's going to be very much AI driven. I think that's the future.
Yeah,
Is how
I
I
believe
see
we just will become more
it.
efficient in that. We'll be just be able to produce
Yeah,
millennia for the
exactly.
same amount of time by leveraging the AI and using those capabilities.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
outside of your
Yeah.
professional life, what are some of your passions or hobbies to help you stay inspired and full of energy?
Yeah. I would say I definitely like to spend time in nature. So for me, unwind is all about like going on hikes, or going on a walks, and just go out, spend time in nature. And I think that definitely helps me unwind. And also I do like to travel. So I think traveling, exploring, and just seeing different cultures, and exploring different food and culture, and different locations, it just inspires me to see um, just just people, and just understanding different cultures. I think those are the things that I definitely enjoy when I'm not working or not thinking about anything related to career. And yeah, I hope I can continue to do that more and
Mm,
more.
nice. I like
So
hiking as well, and I like outside activities too.
yeah,
And as we're coming to
exactly.
the end of our conversation, I probably have the last question to you. So, do you have any
Mhm.
advice to someone who would love to follow your career path to become an engineering leader, or some aspiring engineer who is like just considering moving to that direction?
Mhm. Yeah, I think my advice would be, one, definitely believe in yourself. You can definitely do it. You have it in you. and then just keep learning, whether you learn it from reading or talking to people, observing others, working with others. Just keep learning throughout your careers, and don't shy away from taking the next step. I think that has definitely helped me in my career. So definitely believe that you can do it, and don't shy away, and just keep learning. Don't stop learning,
Yeah,
and you will make
yeah.
it.
It is just the
Yeah.
knowledge that keeps us confident about our
Yeah.
abilities and about uh, and
Mhm.
having like better self-esteem is also like important on this
Yeah,
journey.
exactly. And I think that's where, yeah, you're right? Like knowledge is so important, and that's where sometimes I think that there's like, don't shy away from even asking questions. Right? Sometimes, right, it's just a matter of asking questions and
Even stupid
understanding.
questions, like on the first
Um,
place.
exactly. Yeah. I really think there are no stupid questions. It's just like you. I mean, there's no harm in asking. You will learn something, and I think that can just help you. You never know what can help and how, but yeah, I think that has helped me. So yeah,
Okay, great, great.
yeah.
So, Dhara Patel, thank you so much for coming to the podcast and sharing your journey and story about your career and your wisdom with us. And have a good rest of your day.
You too, and thank you so much for having me on the podcast. I hope this helps.